Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for an all new episode recap of today's Days of Our Lives, July 16, 2025. So we start off with Stephanie and Alex, which again, to me, their scenes have become very just one note, boring, annoying. I'm just over their relationship. Their scenes together is just really driving me nuts, right? So they're talking about work, and Stephanie is thinking about, adding more clients to her PR job because, again, her PR job has gone down on the hill and she's considering taking up the job offer from EJ. She's doing it because at the end of the day, it's for the betterment of the hospital and her mom. And Alex again is trying to convince her that look, she can, quit the PR career and get into a new career by publishing the novel. So he shows her how it's looking so far. She likes how it looks, and he tells her that Kate is actually making it a priority to publish it first, and hopefully it's gonna be, not even hopefully, he's confident that it will be a bestseller for Titan, for her, and just for people who want to read it. It's gonna be great, right? So she's still in the middle of, you know she's still in the middle of whether or not she wants to jump into that new career altogether. They start making out, getting intimate, and then there's a knock at the door. It's Kayla, so of course it's all awkward. And Alex, he was trying to button his shirt really fast, and she has, at the door, and Kayla is there with some pie and wanted to share with them, and she sees Alex and she's like, you missed the button. So you know how awkward it is. But I can't understand why they have to be so childish around each other, around her parents. At some point, Caleb sees the novel and she's like, what is this doing here? Alex tells her that he is actually publishing it for Titan. So Kayla asked Stephanie if she read it, so she said not exactly. So she's like, you should read it, give it a read and all of that, and it's going to be a bestseller and all of that. So again, Stephanie is very embarrassed that her mother has read certain pages and all of that. I'm like, girl, you need to grow up. You should have just admitted right then and there that you are the writer behind it and all that. You have to go under an alias and you have to be all of this because you're afraid of what people might think, because you are an adult and you have fantasies and everybody, like, and everything. Like, I don't get it, right? So they decided to reenact parts of the novel again. Snoozers for me just wasn't entertaining. Oh yes, at some point Kayla did tell Stephanie was asking her advice on taking a job offer from EJ. So she's happy that she wants to help the hospital, but she's wary of EJ and his intentions, and she doesn't want her daughter to get sucked in. And she knows how EJ can work, and especially if he does anything illegal, and she has to spin it around for him, make him look good. So she said at the end of the day, she wants to take it because she wants to do it for her mom and keep EJ in line. So she doesn't want her to fight her battles for her. She can handle EJ and, back off if she needs to, right? So back to EJ and Gwen. So Gwen was there picking out a room out of the East Wing, talking about how she's excited to get back into the Demerara mansion and, get into a more comfortable setting other than the inn. And EJ says, Kristen forgot to mention it, but, the East Wing is being, remodeled, repainted or something like that. So you'd have to wait, stay at the inn for a few more days. So she get the memo and she just said, okay, I can just think more about the type of room I want to go into. So EJ is not really so happy about it, but he's not like he's also telling her that she can't move in, point blank period, right? So she tells him about just having Dimitri's fortune all to her little fingers and what she can do with it. And you notice that she has on this expensive necklace and realize that it's the stolen necklace that Julie had. And he asked her, like, how did she acquire it? Did she steal it as well? So she said, no, I actually bought it through a broker. And he's like, are you going to give it back? So she said, no, I'm not gonna give it back, it's all mine, right? So at some point Chad and Thomas come in, right? So we'll talk about that at a later date. But Chad and Thomas were earlier at the park. I guess they're gonna play baseball, and they see Kat. So Thomas, which I think he was a little bit out of line, asking Kat, like, what is she doing here? I'm like, little boy, if you don't stay in your place, like, why are you asking a grown woman, a grown adult, what are they doing or where are they going or whatever? It's not your place to ask. So she said that she has somewhere to go, and Chad instantly thought about that one time where, she was fixing his wristband, and he happened to see, a call coming in from somebody unknown. So he's thinking maybe she's off to see that person. But Chad, what is it to you that she's gonna see the person or whatever she's doing with her life? You did not claim her. You do not want to have a relationship with her. So why does it matter to you what she does or doesn't do, right? So, anyways, Thomas was asking if she want to join them play baseball because he knows that she's a baseball fan. So she said she'd love to, but she has somewhere to go. So he was upset about that, but at some point, Kat goes off, and Thomas says to Chad, like, why are you running her off? So he's like, I'm not trying to run her off. So he's like, I know you, I see what you're doing, she's a great person. And he's like, yeah, and all that. So again, they're playing around their feelings. So Rafe is at home and he gets a text message from somebody called Kelly Jones. We're gonna get into who is Kelly Jones, right? So he is on his way out. He sees Gabby, and he's like, what are you doing here? So Gabby said that she's there for some notes for some meeting. So she's asking Rafe, where is he off to? So he said that he has a meeting. So she's like, with whom, where are you going? So he's like, I can't really tell you because of the nature of my business. And she was like, it's not like I'm gonna tell anybody or anything. So he's like, fine, I'll tell you. So he made up some excuse and she wasn't buying it. So he tells her again, like, look, I can't do it, it's confidential, right? So anyways, he asks her about Ari. Did she make it safely to the trip? So she said she hasn't heard from her, but Rafe is surprised because normally she'd be worried about what's happening with her and not hearing from her instantly. So she said that she's learning to just back off a little bit, and she will probably feel the type of way she doesn't hear from her later in the night. So she said that as she gets older, the less she's gonna really hear from her. So she's just giving her some time until she really gets concerned. She's saying maybe Ari's just soaking up everything and enjoying herself. And Gabby, if only you know that she's not enjoying herself and she's somewhere, tied up and can't move. But again, like, who is Gabby to really ask Rafe what is he up to, what kind of meeting? Does he ask her what kind of meeting she's going to or who she's having a meeting with? Get out of the man's business, girl. So Gabby goes back to the meeting, or goes back to Titan, the mirror. And Xander was there trying to calm down little Victor. Earlier he was there with her. He was on the phone with some shareholders, and they're hearing the baby crying in the background, and he's saying don't worry about the noise. So he ends up taking her to walk, doing the usual things that you have to do to calm down a crying baby or a crying toddler. Takes her out for a walk. It's not working. He tries to give her food stacks. It's not working. He's like, what more do you want from me? Singing, dancing, what else can I do? So Gabby comes in and says, can I try? So he's like, do you think I can't handle parenting my daughter? So she's like, it's not that, just sometimes we need somebody else to kind of help to solve the problem. So she ends up, I don't know what she did, but she calmed her down. So he's like, what did you end up doing? So she's like, she was crying a lot, so you have to let her cry it out till she fall asleep. So she did something else, but the most important thing is that Victoria's gone to sleep. So he thanks her for that because he was at his limit. He didn't know what to do. So she says sometimes it's like that. And, give yourself some grace. You're one parent down. And I know how it is. Co-parenting is definitely hard. And, he he's very stressed out about what's going on, especially with the shareholders. He talks about Johnny and how Johnny has been flaking lately, and Gabby says give him some slack because he was accused of killing his father, well, shooting his father, and you were just accused of assault. So he's like, I got off. So she's like, you can understand the shoes that Johnny is in now. So he's like, maybe I made a bad choice to hire him for this job to make Titan better and all of that. So Gabby's trying to say, give him a chance, he's gonna come around. So he's surprised at how calm she is, because normally she's on 100 all the time. So she said, I guess maybe it's because you're stressed out. So he's like, I'm glad my stress on my personal and professional life is making you zen. So she said, look, you're going to come around, you're going to get it together. You have it all. Like, I wish I had it all. And I think she's alluding to the part where she wanted to have more children, but because of what happened to her in jail, she can't have no more children. And she talked about how Arya's growing up now, and she reminisced on when she was younger and just being involved in all that. So, Xander says, look, yes, I have everything except Sarah. So he's low-key missing that, but again, the level of trust is broken, and who's to tell if it's going to be reparable? So earlier, remember I mentioned the name Kelly Jones that Rafe got a text message from. So it turns out that Kelly Jones is actually Kat Green, and Rafe also has an alias known as James Smith, I believe. So they're going on the aliases because of the mission that they're on to bring down EJ. So they're meeting at this office undisclosed location, and they're talking about how they're gonna get to EJ because they want to find out where did he get his money from to source getting the hospital, right? So Kat is kind of hesitant because, again, EJ is the brother of a close friend of hers, and Rafe didn't take long to realize that it's Chad, and she said, he's a great guy, I know his children, and Rafe knows him very well, and that he's the good Demira, and whenever the Demiras are plotting together or getting themselves out of legal problems, Chad is always the one that's going to be, doing the right thing and by the book. So he wouldn't stand in the way, or he wouldn't be upset if you're going after his brother, right? You're doing it for the right intentions. And Kat also says she's also doing it because the hospital means a lot to her because it helps save her little sister. And she's just worried about getting back into the ISA and how is it going to affect her younger siblings. And, she want to keep them safe. And Rafe understands because he's the eldest sibling as well, and he wants to protect his siblings. And at the end of the day, he's doing it because this career is to help protect whoever needs protection, and to make the world a better place, a safer place in general. So anyways, they dig deeper into EJ because, again, Kat realizes it's a personal reason as well why Rafe is involved, and Rafe tells her about how he held him captive, and he had his doppelganger hanging around Salem and acting as the police commissioner. So it's personal to him to take EJ down and all of that, right? So it turns out that EJ has some silent partner. They just need to find out who it is. So back to the Demare mansion where Chad and Thomas came in, and they saw Gwen and EJ. So Chad comes in and tells them that Thomas is there to pick up some toys that he left at Rachel's room. So Thomas asks Gwen a very important question, like, what are you doing with Julie's necklace, and why haven't you returned it? So she said, it's a little disagreement, but EJ said that they're gonna work it out real soon. So Chad was also asking her the question as well because, so anyways, she Thomas went to Rachel's room, and Chad said, you're lucky my son was here so that I have to be nice to you, because otherwise I can't stand you. I can't wait for you to leave town. So she said, I hate to disappoint you, but I'm going to be here to tie up some loose ends. So it's like, whatever it is, I do not care. Just don't be around my family, right? So she's like, you heard Thomas, I'm his Aunt Gwen. I am a part of your family. I'm also a part of this family. I am married to Dimitri, which makes me a Demira as well. So I'm not going nowhere. I'm actually moving in. So Chad is like, oh, really now? So each is just there, enjoying the conversation between Chad and Gwen, and, laughing his head off. So, yeah, I mean, Gwen is not going nowhere. And she has an agenda, of course, and she hates the Horton family for what they did to her and how they treated her. And EJ saying there's two sides to a story, and she used to be in the newspaper busy. She understands that. So I'm just saying, if only Gwen can turn over a new leaf and stop being this victim, because it's annoying. But anyways, guys, comment below your thoughts on today's episode. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys tomorrow.